Beverage with Blipey.
That's me.
Welcome, lovers of beverage. Today we're going to do an original cocktail that's based on the traditional whiskey sour. Now, if you are watching this, that means I have either won the International Gentleman Jack Whiskey Sour Competition, and everyone knows this recipe, or I was eliminated and nobody cares. I call this the Just Dill with it sour. Now, the ingredients for this, we're going to do Gentleman Jack whiskey. This is a super mellow whiskey. It's actually not a whiskey that I would prefer to sip, either neat or on the rocks, but it makes a pretty nice cocktail component when you mix it with the right things. We're also going to use the strawberry dill shrub that we have made in a previous video, so you can check that out if you'd like to know how to make this ingredient. We also have the sweet component of the sour, the simple syrup, which we've also done a video on, so you can make your own simple syrups. It has fresh lemon juice, because fresh citrus juice is the only way to go. Need not a whole bunch for this cocktail, just 3/4 of an ounce, so just a touch. This also has Fee Brothers Grapefruit Bitters, which I am in love with. This stuff is amazing. Just a dash or two will make a cocktail super sharp, clear, fantastic. I use it in probably way too many things, but Fee Brothers Grapefruit Bitters. And of course, it's a sour. Not all sours contain this last ingredient, but traditionally they do, and that is an egg white. What? A raw egg in a cocktail? Ugh. No, it's all right. There is a way to tell if an egg is okay to use in your cocktail. Follow me. Now, there's no surefire way to tell whether an egg is good or not without cracking it open and smelling it. But I say you should only use the freshest eggs in your cocktail just to be on the safe side. How do you know it's the freshest? You get a glass of water and an egg. Put the egg in the water. If it sinks and is on its side, it's fresh. Put it in your cocktail. If it sinks but stands on its end, means it's less fresh. You can cook it, don't put it in your cocktail. If it's floating, it might still be good to eat. You'd have to crack it open and check, but don't put it in your cocktail. All right, back to the cocktail. A nice foaminess, a little bit of a creaminess, helps blend the sweet and sour aspects of the cocktail together, and it's kind of fun to do, so we're going to show you how to do that as well. Now, the first thing you do in any drink that has an egg white in it is put the egg white in the mixing glass. Why do we do that first? Well, you don't want to screw it up. You could drop the yolk in there, all that kinds of things have happened, and if you've built the rest of the drink in there, you're wasting a lot of spirit, you're wasting a lot of juice, all those other things, you just got to throw it away, or maybe try to make a flip out of it or something. But you don't want to do that. You want to do the egg first. You separate an egg white by cracking the egg over the mixing glass, letting the white run in to the glass, and just passing the yolk back and forth between the shells until all of that white is in our mixing glass, and then the yolk and the shell we just get rid of, and I gotta go wash my hands. I'll be right back. All right, now that we have the egg white in there, we can put the rest of our ingredients. Gentleman Jack Tennessee whiskey as the spirit, and we are going to use 2 ounces. 2 ounces of Gentleman Jack. Now, the traditional ratios of a sour drink are 1 part sweet to 2 parts sour to 3 parts spirit. 4 parts for some people. It depends on how strong you want that, and a little bit about what kind of sour, what kind of sweet you're using. But I like the 1 to 2 to 3. So we're going to play mostly in that ballpark. So 2 ounces of the Gentleman Jack. We are going to have 3/4 of an ounce of the lemon juice. Now you'll notice 3/4 of an ounce. There we go. Not quite the ratio, but that's because we are going to use our strawberry dill shrub, and this takes the place of a couple components in the drink. It takes a little bit of the sour component because of the acid in the vinegar. Kind of pairs nicely with the sour elements. So 3/4 of an ounce of the shrub as well. Now, the shrub is also, of course, sugar. So it takes a little bit of the sweet component onto itself as well. So we're only going to use 1/2 an ounce of our simple syrup. 1/2 an ounce. Now, my favorite ingredient, a dash of the grapefruit bitters. Perfect. Now, this next part is very important. Now, when you are making a drink with an egg white, you want to dry shake it. Now, what that means is you're going to shake the cocktail twice. The first time is a dry shake, and that means without ice. So we do that. All right, now this guy is going to ramble on a bit about the dry shake. And while what he's about to say is correct, he's not going to mention the reverse dry shake at all. Probably because he's not going to use it in this cocktail. And with that, I agree. However, that's no excuse not to talk about the method that some bartenders think is the only appropriate way to dry shake. So we're going to do it right now. The dry shake versus the reverse dry shake. When to use which one? That's right. They both have their uses. So, we'll start with why do we even shake a cocktail at all? Well, that is to incorporate the ingredients. That's the most important part of shaking, incorporating all of the ingredients into a nice uniform flavor and texture. Now, you can do that with stirring, but some hardier ingredients need the pummeling that ice gives in a good shaking. Ingredients like cream and cream liqueurs and fruit juice and syrups, and in our case, an egg. Shaking a cocktail also brings a drink to the proper temperature while providing aeration that stirring does not. A shaken cocktail feels lighter on the tongue, has a little zip to it, and this can have the effect of making it seem less bitter to us while enhancing the amount of sweetness we perceive from it. Now, this textural component is also important in choosing which dry shake technique we're going to use. Now lastly, shaking a cocktail generally dilutes more water into the cocktail than stirring does, but it's a minor difference, and that is a whole nother topic. Now, an egg needs to be emulsified into the drink. This is aided by the acid in our citrus juice, and the argument is that this happens more efficiently at room temperature, hence the dry shake. Now, an egg white is emulsified into the other ingredients, and when that happens, a lot of air bubbles get beaten into the egg white, producing a lovely foam. Then, in a traditional dry shake, we add ice to this foamy mixture and give it another shake like this. And while we're doing that, the cocktail comes to the right chill, but we also start losing some of those air bubbles that we just made. Oh, noes! Why would we ruin some of the work we just did? Well, for texture. While the resulting foam in this method is less pronounced, it's still a good foam. And the wet shake here works to incorporate some of that foam into the rest of the beverage. I think this results in a creamier drink with a uniformly smooth texture, even if the foam might be slightly less. Now, proponents of the reverse dry shake tout the fluffier, lighter meringue that results, and they are right. But I maintain that not every drink calls for this. In the reverse dry shake, you shake all the ingredients except for the egg white as normal with ice. Then you strain that chilled mixture onto an egg white and give it a dry shake. Now, you might have to shake this a little bit longer to emulsify the egg in this slightly colder mixture, but all of the bubbles that you are creating remain at maximum fluffiness because you're not going to destroy them with ice in a minute.
Since the drink has already been double strained, this method also has the benefit of being able to be poured directly into the serving glass without any extra fuss. Now, you will notice the larger head of foam with this method, and that foam can stand up for an hour, sometimes longer. But, and this is the reason that I think he chose not to dry shake this cocktail, the resulting meringue acts more like a garnish, floating on top of the drink instead of being fully incorporated as an ingredient throughout the whole beverage. Now, hopefully you have seen the ins and outs of the dry shake and you can choose which one you are going to use, and most likely you'll find that you will use a different method in each drink that you make. Anyway, I'll let him get back to dry shaking.
Until we get a nice head on the egg white. And you can tell by checking your mixing glass that we've got a nice foam in there. Now, after that has been dry shaken, we add our ice to the tin. And we give it our normal shake. Perfect. Release our Boston shaker there. Now we're going to make this an up drink. We're going to strain that. I'm actually going to double strain this with our fine mesh or tea strainer, cocktail strainer here. And that is so we don't get any of that lemon juice pulp in our finished cocktail. So we strain it through our Hawthorne strainer and then through our tea strainer. All right, and the garnish for this is very simple. It is merely the expression of an orange peel. So we take an orange, we take our peeler, and we give this a nice peel of 2, maybe 2¼ inches, just right down the side like that. Now, when you're using these peelers, make sure you're just getting the outside there. We're not going into the pith because the pith is very, very bitter, and we don't want that. So we just pull off a little section, and then to express the oil over the drink, we give it a couple of squeezes right at the foam, and maybe a twist there. You can see little splashes of the oil on the foam of the drink. And we do this for a couple of reasons. The orange juice, that smell is going to be fantastic. It's the smell of bitter orange, which is great. And it also will sometimes mask an odor you get when you make a drink with an egg white. Sometimes you can get a little off aroma there. Nothing wrong with the drink. It's just kind of a goofy little smell. And this orange oil will get rid of that. We tuck that orange right in the side of the foam, just like that. And there we have a Just Dill with it sour. Make this at home, enjoy, and until next time, Sláinte.